Is technology at your work distracting you from actual work? Do you spend too much time troubleshooting PC or internet issues? IT Enabled can help. Our team of IT specialists can help you tackle your technology troubles and get you focused on growing your business in no time. Call to schedule your technology consultation, 936-225-3329. IT Enabled. We're here to help.
Hi, I'm Tara Watson-Watkins, President and CEO of the Lufkin Angelina County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the Connect podcast, connecting business to community. I'm here today with my co-host, Blake Pollino of BP Media Group.
So in this episode, we sit down with the Blood Center of East Texas staff to debunk some myths about giving blood and just learn all that we could about the blood donation industry and how that works and how important it is for our community to give to this organization. So let's jump into that episode now.
We're honored to have three of the ladies from the Blood Center of East Texas with us today. Why don't we start today by letting you introduce yourself, give a little background history, and then we'll talk about the center itself.
Well, I'm Tamara Billett. I'm Regional Manager of Operations. I've been with the Blood Center. This is my 20th year. Started out working in the mobiles collecting blood and just worked my way up. I am an RN, got that in 2007, stayed there, went into training, and then a position opened up for the Manager of Operations and applied for that, and I've been in that position 10 years.
I am Connie Weaver, and I've been with the Blood Center. This is my 18th year, I think, and I've always been in the donor recruitment department. Started out as an inside recruiter and helping the outside recruiters, and so now I'm the only recruiter left in East Texas. I set up all blood drives for all of the East Texas area, so it's just me. I'm busy.
I'm Pam McCain. I've been with the Blood Center for 22 years. I am the NDC Operations Manager, Technical Services Manager. We oversee the laboratory, so all the deliveries to our hospitals is what my staff and myself do. We also are the ones who collect at the facilities, the neighborhood donor centers. And
yeah. Well, I think it says a lot about the industry and about the Blood Center with the fact that you've all been there over 15 years each.
Yeah, and we have a large number of our staff have been there 15 years plus.
That's great.
It's...
Wow.
Well, that says a lot about your organization, so that's fantastic. So for those that are not familiar with the Blood Center, how do you describe that? What would you tell people about it?
Well, we are a nonprofit organization. Our main mission is to supply the hospitals with a safe supply of blood. And so we work with the community. We work with businesses, churches, schools in the community, as well as just community members coming into our donor centers to try to ensure that we collect enough blood to supply our hospitals and our patients with the needed blood.
Nice.
That's great. Can you kind of explain that supply chain for how that works? So do the local donations go to our local hospitals, or does it go to I think we all imagine it as like this big warehouse somewhere where all the blood is just stored and they distribute it out?
We actually at our Nacogdoches location, we have what we consider what Pam was talking about, hospital services. Mm-hmm. So we have our own inventory of blood that we keep there, and then we also, our hospitals have their own inventory that come from us, and we stock their inventories, and we just have the backup inventory at our center in Nacogdoches. So, the donor gives. The blood is processed currently right now in Houston. Mm-hmm. It does go down to Houston to be processed. We used to do that here, but just with the increase in automation, and we centralized all the processing in Houston, but then blood does come back to East Texas. It comes back to our Nacogdoches Donor Center, and then from there goes to our local hospitals.
Okay. So how many units of blood and blood products are needed in our area each month?
we need approximately 1,700 each month, and that's because we cover such a large area. It's, I believe it's 9 counties, 7 hospitals, and we've got to have the blood on the shelf when it's needed, and that's really critical. So, usage fluctuates, some months more, some less, but on average about 1,700 units.
Okay.
And can you explain what a unit is? How much is that per donation, or do you get multiple units per donation? How does that work? If
you do a whole blood unit, it's approximately 500 mils of fluid. It's red cells, plasma, and platelets. That's processed down to form red blood cells, plasma, and platelets, the individual components. So from one donation, you could have 3 products come from that.
Oh, that's great.
Automation's a little bit different aspect of it because we can actually target what we need. They can collect just platelets, just plasma, just red cells, or all 3, or any combination of that. So it's a growing field. It helps because you can actually get what you need when you need it without wasting.
Perfect. Who typically needs this blood, like in our local community? Where is it being most utilized?
For the most part, we have a lot of surgeries in our area, Lufkin, Nacogdoches, especially Lufkin. We have lots of heart procedures down here, cancer patients, leukemia patients, sickle cell patients, and of course the traumas that you can't plan for.
Right.
Sure.
That we're starting to see an uptick in usage right now, even with COVID. It's getting a lot busier.
Wow. So can anyone donate blood? Do you have to have certain requirements?
As long as they're generally healthy and you're 16 years old with a parent consent, you can.
Okay.
Anybody 17 years, there's no upper age limit as long as you're still healthy. They can give. There are a few medications that defer people. Those are available on our website, or they can always give us a call if they have questions. But general ones like, thyroid medications, pain medications, things like that, those don't defer you. And a lot of people are under the misunderstanding that they do.
Do you see, is it seasonal when people want to donate blood? Like, do you see more donated at one point during the year versus another?
I do with blood drives because typically in the summer is when our blood supply suffers really greatly because no one's wanting to have blood drives. They're going on vacation. They're traveling.
Gotcha.
Donors aren't wanting to donate. They're wanting to go. So, schools are out.
Yeah.
I don't have the colleges typically because it's not a normal fall and spring. And then high schools, they're out. And students bring a lot of the blood for our community. Oh, yeah. Yes. So, and the COVID, when it hit and the schools stopped us, that hurt
I'm sure.
our blood supply tremendously.
So, there's been that talk about wanting to donate plasma if you've had COVID because you need the plasma to help patients that, that have it. How long are you seeing people say I had it last June? So would you see maybe any antibodies in my system at all? Are you seeing that?
Some donors, their titer or their level of antibody in their serum drops off pretty quickly. We
Okay.
have some donors that they're going 6 months still, and they're still
have
able
it.
to donate.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's dependent on the person, really.
And you don't really know until the donor comes in and you start to give blood if you've got it or not.
Correct.
So if you don't have it, you can still donate your blood to still help someone else. You may not be helping a COVID patient that's
Right.
needing your plasma,
Yes.
but you could still take the blood and help someone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because going along with what Connie said in the summer, the draws of collections drop. Traumas and surgeries don't always drop.
Sure.
So that's a critical time.
Well, and there's so many people on the road. We
Accidents.
see more accidents because
That's right.
people are traveling more. And so typically usage goes up. There's also more elective surgeries in the summer.
Okay.
So usage goes up. And summer's a hard time for us.
It is.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, you need to donate blood in the summer.
Well,
Moral
we
of
do
the
all
story.
time.
You had talked about the misconception with people being on different medications, and I'm sure there's tons of them. But what are some misconceptions about donating blood that people may have? Maybe can we debunk some myths here on the podcast for some local people?
Well, a lot of people think, I have high blood pressure, I can't give. As long as it's controlled, we do have a range, but it's like 180 over 100, so it's pretty high
Right.
up there. You don't have to be 110 over 70 to give blood. We do have some leeway there. Like I said, a lot of people have thyroid problems or they're diabetic. They can donate if they're diabetic. They just need to be controlled. We don't want them coming in where they're feeling bad and their blood sugar's really high. Or some other myths.
One that I've run into a lot, especially at the schools, the high schools, because I deal so much with the campus and all the different, is, I can't donate. I'm anemic. The last time I tried, they told me my iron was low. That changes.
Yeah.
Typically, it's going to take at least 30 days. But if they eat healthy and do good for them, that changes, and that iron goes right back up.
Right.
So they've deferred themselves for life because of
They were
one
deferred
time.
Because it was low once.
Yes. So
Okay.
if I'm out there and able to tell them, I'll actually get them to retry.
Sure.
And
Yes.
our levels are set at a very safe level.
Okay.
So the FDA sets our level at a minimum for females for 38. And a doctor's not going to tell you you're anemic till you're well below that
That's right.
level.
Right.
So, I mean, you can be 36, 37 and still be healthy according to your doctor, but we're not going to let you donate because you are on the lower end. So we do want you to be 38, but that doesn't mean you're anemic and you can't try again. You just
It
need
just
to
means you don't need to
try
donate
to-
blood right
that
that
day.
day.
Yes. That day. Come back in a month.
Yes.
So, what is the rarest blood type?
Well, statistically, it's going to be your AB negative
Okay.
person. There's not a lot of those people walking around. Good thing about AB neg people is they could take blood from everyone. The bad thing is, or the good thing, depending on how you look at it, is they can only give red cells to AB negs, but their plasma is extremely valuable. Their plasma can go to absolutely anyone,
Okay.
even any type. So yeah, AB neg is the rarest, and then it goes up AB pos, A neg, all the way up. O neg, of course, is our universal donor who
Right.
can go to anyone. When you're talking red cells, they can go to literally, AB pos, plasma, AB neg, plasma. That's what we primarily target.
I always like to say though, the rarest is the type that we don't have
Right.
at the
Right.
time. I mean, and it can be any type depending on the day,
Sure.
the hospital usages, and so every person, every blood type is special. They really are for some particular component of the blood. And A pos, we may not need red cells that day, but we're going to need your platelets. And so if someone comes in to donate, we're going to, based on their blood volume, due to their, height, weight, what their hematocrit is, what their blood type is, we're going to talk to them about what we need from them most that day when they come in. And that's going to be based on what the hospitals are needing and what's being used in the area.
We'll have some days where everybody that's ordering nothing but O pos. The next day it may be A pos. The next day B pos. And there's no rhyme or reason. Just
Sure.
it's whatever's needed.
Look at the draw.
Yeah. And O pos and A pos are, of course, the most common. And a lot of people think, well, I'm common, you don't need me. That means it's the most used.
Yeah.
We do
We
need
do
you.
need you. So, if someone wanted to give blood, how long does it take to donate?
About an hour for the screening process and the actual phlebotomy.
To give, yeah.
Okay.
And that's going to be for a whole blood donation. It takes a little bit longer if you do an automated donation with us. But it's really a quick, easy process. As long as you eat a healthy meal ahead of time and you're very hydrated, very few people have any issues with donating.
And how often can you donate?
Well, with whole blood, you can give that every 8 weeks.
Okay.
And platelets, you can actually do that as much as every week. So
Interesting. Okay.
I know a lot of friends that gave platelets in college
Uh-huh.
because they wanted beer money.
Oh, well, you're
Yeah,
talking
the
plasma.
Oh, plasma.
Yes.
Plasma. Yes. So,
Yes.
either
and
that
of
or
course,
new shoes.
and we're a little different than that. We our blood goes directly to patients for transfusion to the
Okay.
hospitals. So we are not allowed to give anything other than like T-shirts away. We are not allowed to pay. That is a different part of the industry.
Okay.
So there is a difference there.
Okay.
Interesting. That's good to know.
yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
not at all. Well, so I think, the myth of people just being afraid. They're afraid of the needles. They're afraid of passing out after it. I mean, if you were going to tell someone that has been afraid their whole life to give blood, what's a story that you have where that blood that y'all took saved someone's life that you could, I'm sure it happens every single day, but have you personally experienced that where you could pull on some heartstrings and encourage people to give?
I have to think about it.
Pam should have a lot of. She deals directly with the hospitals, and we don't know the patient's
That's right.
information. We don't know their names, but generally we'll know what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had donors actually tell us recently with COVID that they had received the plasma, convalescent plasma. Now they're giving back. They're eligible to donate, and
That's
they're giving
nice.
back, and that it really made a difference in their lives. On the lab side, we can walk in through the waiting rooms at the ER, and you can see the patients' families they're waiting on their loved ones that's in whatever stress, trauma that's going on, and you've got that blood for them, and they know what's in that cooler you're bringing in. And it's upsetting sometimes. And then you hear the stories of, well, this is what's going on with this patient, and they're bleeding this much, and you're making a difference.
That's right.
We're making a difference by delivering it. The people who donate it are making a huge difference.
And what a lot of people don't understand either is it doesn't work like it does on TV. I mean, whenever somebody gives, it's going to take a day or two for the testing on that blood and for that processing that blood to happen and for it to be ready to go to the hospital. So it's, TV, it shows you go into the hospital and it goes from your arm to somebody else's arm, and it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Not anymore.
So
Thank goodness.
whenever, the need is there, that blood has to be on the shelf.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to have those consistent donations. And why we started a program called Commit for Life, because a lot of people just donated like once a year, if that. And, we really needed to get the education out there that we need people to donate regularly.
Sure.
And regularly is different for everybody. But, for whole blood donors, if we can get in every 8 weeks, which is as much as you can give, we really appreciate it.
Nice. And can you set up on a rotation so that you're booked every 8 weeks? It's on your calendar.
Oh, yes. With blood drives, all the businesses here, we try to convince them to do the quarterly blood drive, which is the Commit for Life. It makes them a Commit for Life partner.
Okay.
So they can, every quarter, we're coming to that business. We set it up for the whole year. Of course, things happen, and we have to move dates. But at least once a quarter, we like to go into all the businesses in the community that are having drives right now. So,
And are you looking for
And it's different.
businesses?
always
Okay.
always looking for blood drives, the chance for them not only to give back to their community, but it also makes awareness of their business. And it more than anything, it helps us save lives.
Nice.
Can you explain kind of how that process works? This is a mobile situation where you
Yeah,
come
this
to
is
them
where-
with the mobile unit and park at their business, and everybody comes out to do the blood drive? Can you
Yes,
kind of
that's
explain
what.
how that works?
So basically, they agree to have a blood drive for their employees. Now, we do have community blood drives, and that's like if we go to Walmart or Angelina Savings, the bank, they have a huge one in the summertime, and it's a community. Everybody comes out. It's great. But so what we do is we can bring our donor bus, our big coach that y'all see, if they don't have a room available inside. And if they have a room available inside, we love inside setups because it just runs so much smoother. It's more spread out, and we can see more people. But yes, and then I go and meet with them, whoever wants to kind of head the blood drive up, once they agree to it. And it doesn't cost them anything. We provide everything. We are completely standalone. Our coaches have generators. We don't need, if we set up inside, we bring everything. We supply the juice, the snacks, the T-shirts, whatever. All they will need is donors to help us save lives, and to support their employees being able to come and donate while they're at work, and let them spend that 30 minutes to an hour donating and helping us save lives.
Yeah.
For sure. So
if people want
And
to
the high
reach out
schools.
to you and they want to set up a drive, how do they get a hold of you?
they can call the blood center, either blood center. That's what Pam was saying earlier. She said I answer more calls for you. And then they give my cell phone because I'm always out and about traveling around. And usually if I get a call, I try to call them back pretty quick while they're ready to talk. And then I'm at their business and I'm ready to roll. Like, don't give them no time. But yes, so, and all the high schools in East Texas. Before COVID, we had actively 31 or 32 high schools in East Texas that I was going around traveling, and we would have some really good blood drives. And we've got pretty much nearly every high school back now after,
That's nice.
Yes, COVID hit us and killed us. But yes, Lufkin High School is one of the biggest drives in East Texas that we have right now, including the businesses. I mean, they're over it all. They really do good, and the students are wonderful. So I'm so proud for that high school, by the way.
If you're interested in setting up, please give the Blood Center of East Texas a call and let them know that you want to set up a blood drive, and we will love to promote that, and we'd love to have you here at the chamber one day.
So. Oh, awesome! We will be here. I'll see you next week.
Yeah,
we're ready.
We also have a new option. Not a lot of businesses are necessarily large enough to host their own drive. How many are you wanting to have now?
Yeah, is there a minimum number of people you need for it to make sense?
To come out to a business or whatever, a minimum now is 10 successful donations.
Okay.
So you're talking 12, 13 people probably will need to try. However, like she said, say they only have 3 or 4 employees, but they have all these customers.
Yeah.
You know, it's more, so we call it the virtual blood drive.
Okay.
And we set it up. We actually tried one this summer, and they can come to the facility and donate and credit their business.
Okay.
All of their, and that helps them know, hey, we are, helping the
And we
community.
like to hang up a banner in the donor
Yes,
center to
sure.
advertise
Ties
the
their
business.
business.
And they have the whole month,
Okay.
whichever month they want to choose, so they can, have their customers and their staff come in that month. And it's something new we've just recently started, but we realize there are a lot of smaller businesses out there that maybe can't host their own drive,
That's right.
but could do this to help out.
That's right.
Sure. That's great.
Well, good.
That's great information. So this is kind of, as we get toward the end here, this may be a dumb question, so I'll cut it out if it is. But are there health benefits to donating? Every 8 years, your body regenerate new blood. Is it helpful for that? Is that something that you can pitch to people?
I heard you lose a pound.
That's what I'm
It
saying.
never
Hey,
happened to me, but I heard you
we're
can.
trying to get these incentives out there. I remember when we used to do blood drives at school. When I was in high school, everybody wanted to do it because you got to get out of class for an hour, right?
Yeah,
so it's
I
like,
know.
That's still
that's,
a
yeah,
lot.
I'm sure that's
I'd like
same
to
thing
do
with
it.
work. If you
Yes.
get an hour extra break, and so whatever those incentives are to do that. So if there's a even marginal health benefit,
Yeah.
We
for,
really do hear from men a lot because the men's hematocrits run a lot higher.
Right.
So when they get rid of some of those red cells, a lot of times they're energized for a week, 2 weeks afterwards, just
Interesting.
because they got that blood a little bit thinner when it was kind of thick.
Interesting.
Interesting.
And I do have some professors at SFA and at AC when they were all still in that would give extra credit,
Oh, yeah.
especially in the human anatomy,
remember that.
physiology,
Yeah.
all that. They're like, hey, if y'all would try to donate blood, then whatever, then send an extra
That's right.
grade. I don't know. Yes, so
I'll take it all along.
yes. So that helps us get more students than we probably would.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely at the college level.
Definitely at the college level. Extra credit, they all about it.
That's right. That's
Awesome. Well, where can people find you? So if they're interested in donating, how can they contact you? How can they set this up? I'm sure you make it extremely easy. So how does that process work?
Well, they can always go to our website. It's giveblood.org.
Okay.
And they can find our locations there. They can Google us. It'll pop up on Facebook, the Blood Center East Texas. Again, we have a location in Nacogdoches and the location here in Lufkin. Currently, our center here is open Tuesday through Friday, so we're open 4 days, 8 to 4. And again, mobile drives, we do any day of the week. So,
Yeah. Monday through Sunday.
yes.
There you go.
At random
Any
times.
days.
Yeah. There's no.
Well, thank y'all so much for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you for
Yes,
having us. We
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate y'all taking the time to be on the podcast, and we want to thank you for listening to the podcast this week. If you'll do us a huge favor and subscribe wherever you're listening, so you'll get a new episode every Monday when we sit down with someone in our community to talk about great organizations and businesses and all of the great resources that we have here in East Texas. And if you want to catch the video version of this podcast, it's available on the Chamber YouTube and the Chamber Facebook page. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.